time I'm recording this video, we're barely days away from a possible government shutdown. A government shutdown that the Republican Party, the MAGA Party, wants to have happen. Not because it's beneficial for the country, not because it'll help the citizens of this country get what they need. I can't believe I'm making another video about this. I'm rehashing something that's already been said, but there's some things I need to talk about when it comes to this. Jim Jordan rehashed another threat, saying that the only way he'll sign a deal to keep the government going is if they shut down the investigations into Donald Trump. That's it. That's all his mind is on. Unless they shut down the investigations into Trump, the government shuts down. What really sickens me about this whole situation is that they're really willing to do this. They're willing to do all of this for a man who not too long ago called for the death penalty against General Mark Milley, the Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman. Well, the outgoing Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman, since the Air Force General was appointed. What I'm trying to say basically is you're willing to do this for him? You're willing to go to the mat for him? And what exactly are you planning on getting out of all this? A few mentions on Truth Social? Because that's not worth it. You are threatening to put this country's economy on the back burner. All for him, all for Donald Trump. Hoping that somehow he'll reward you with cabinet positions if he regains power in 2024. And perish the thought, but what happens if he does regain power in 2024? Do you really believe that he's going to care about what this country needs or wants? Or is he just another means to an end for all you Republicans, for all you in the MAGA? It is just getting more and more dangerous, and it's becoming more and more apparent that all you MAGA care about is appeasing Donald Trump. And here's the thing. The joke of it is this, and I did some research on this. There have been 5 shutdowns of the United States government. And it hasn't been and they're not evenly distributed from political party as to who is in charge of Congress. It's always been the Republicans who've been in charge of Congress who led the charge for the government shutdown. And the last one, of course, being while they had control of the Congress, and more importantly, when Donald Trump was in power, was president of the United States. That's not a good prerequisite. That's not good history for you guys. You're actually going to do this for the 6th time. The 6th time you're going to do this. And you can't even give us a single reason as to why, other than the fact you're trying to hurt the Democrats and trying to protect Donald Trump. You're against funding again for Ukraine. So am I. I think we spend too much money over there where we should be spending money in this country. But you haven't even given us a single bit of solutions as to stopping the funding for Ukraine. And a lot of you out there, you in the MAGA, in Congress and in the streets, have screamed that this is all Ukraine's fault, like Ukraine started the war against Putin. No! Russia, Vladimir Putin started the war against Ukraine. Should we be involved in this thing? I can't answer that. Maybe we should, maybe we shouldn't. Have we spent too much money over there? You're damn right we have. But you're not giving us any kind of alternatives. It's like the abortion thing I told you about. I talked about not too long ago in a previous video. You're against abortion, but you don't give any alternatives to abortion. That's the whole point. You're angry about high gas prices. What have you done about high gas prices? Nothing. You're angry about inflation. So am I. But what have you done to do anything about inflation? Nothing. You've had control of the United States Congress. What has Jim Jordan done as a United States congressman? He has done nothing. He hasn't championed any legislation. He hasn't put forth any bills. All he has done is become head of the Judicial Committee so he can try to hurt Joe Biden. That's the number one priority. Mary Jane Taylor Greene, Miss Jewish Space Lasers, who tried to cover up that racism by tweeting about Yom Kippur holiday. What has she done? Nothing but whore herself out to Donald Trump. And I do mean whore herself out. Emphasis on that word. Whore herself out. Whore. Lauren Boebert. And honestly, that whole story about her giving a hand job in the play, who gives a shit? She's a whore. She dresses like a whore. But I will say this about this, and I'm going to move on than that. It amazes me that so many people out there scream, huff, and holler about homosexuals and drag queens influencing kids and turning kids gay or queer and all that stuff. But you say nothing about the whore, Lauren Boebert, dressing like some skank. Now, obviously, you could say she dresses up like a high school kid, but being in high school, I never saw any girl dress up like that. No, they dress skimpy, and stuff, and that shit is pretty sexy. But nothing like that, especially a middle-aged woman who's supposed to be a United States Congresswoman. See, what really bothers me about the MAGA in Congress right now, you did a lot of complaining about how things are, but you haven't done a single thing to help the situations. You haven't done anything about gas prices or anything else, but you're going to shut down the government for Donald Trump. You're going to shut down the government just to try to make President Biden look bad. And the joke to it is, instead of making President Biden look bad, you made yourselves look like a bunch of jackasses. You didn't hurt Biden. You hurt yourself. So that's the joke on you. As I said before, I'm making this video on Sunday night. We're days away. We're basically almost a week away from the time I'm making this video to avoid a government shutdown. If you Republicans, if you MAGA, really love this country, you will do whatever it takes to keep the government afloat and actually focus on doing your jobs instead of the extracurricular bullshit like whoring yourselves out to Trump and trying to make Biden look bad. Because right now, the only people who are looking bad is the MAGA. The only people who look like a bunch of political whores is the MAGA. So you can scream, huff, and holler about how Ukraine is doing this, Ukraine's doing that, Biden's doing this, and Biden's doing that. What have you done to make things better in this country? Nothing. You've done absolutely, positively nothing to help the situation. All you do is piss and bitch and moan all the way to the point where you're willing to surrender our country to a nightmarish man who called for the death of the Joint Chiefs of Staff because he didn't obey your orders to try to use the military to steal the 2020 election. Who went out on Twitter saying that he wants to go after networks who didn't sufficiently kiss his ass during his regime. That's Hitler talk right there. That's Stalin talk. Reinitiating his talk of the media being the biggest enemy of the American public. You guys have exactly 5 days from the day I'm making this video to avoid a government shutdown. And if you have any kind of compunction whatsoever of walking away and making a deal to keep American families. See, here's the joke about all of this. I'm going to close this video out. You guys say you're angry about the border. You're so angry about so many migrants coming across the border. You got Mary Jane Taylor Greene being angry about fentanyl poisoning and everything else. Fentanyl killing hundreds of people, hundreds of thousands of Americans a day, which is bullshit. You realize that the United States, if the government shuts down, that border is going to get even more open because the Border Patrol is going to be required to work without pay, among other people, among other essential people in the government. And if you think for 1 second, as much as they may think they're patriots, you think for 1 second that the Border Patrol is going to work without pay, you got another thing coming, you stupid bitches. I wouldn't work without pay. So why the hell would you put them through that? And if that happens, the border is wide open. And the problem is you say we have this invasion, you say we have in this country, is going to get worse. Now, I don't believe in the invasion bullshit, but if that was the case, I feel a lot safer, and I'm going to say this without any kind of sympathy. I feel safer with Mexican immigrants than I do with American MAGA. Because right now, at this point, the American MAGA, especially those in Congress, have become terroristic threats in this country. And I say that with no apology. None. I lost count of the amount of threats that I received personally, and many Americans have received personally from the MAGA. I lost count, honestly. I really have. Not one threat came from an illegal immigrant towards me. Now, did they need to come to this country legally? Absolutely, without question. But don't pretend that they're the enemy when we got people like people in Congress, in the Senate, the ex-president of the United States, making significant threats to this country and its people. When you have an ex-president saying he's going to go after the media because they didn't sufficiently kiss his ass during his regime. And he's going to go after prosecutors and judges because they're prosecuting him for the crimes we know he committed and he knows he committed. That the Senate knows he's committed. That the MAGA in Congress knows he's committed because they wouldn't be breaking their backs to defend him. They are the threat to America. Not some people who see America as the shining light of hope for them and their families. As I said earlier, do they need to come here legally? Absolutely. But they're not the threat. They're not. Now, some of them may be bad people, yes. But not all of them. But then again, that's what the MAGA does. They like to generalize everyone. Hell, I had to deal with that for over 7 years since Donald Trump got in. I'm black, so I have to be racist against whites. I'm black, so you have to be against Donald Trump because he's white. I'm black because that means I have to be racist against whites who support Trump and wear the red hats. And I keep asking every single one of those people. So if I wore a red hat, that wouldn't make me a racist? And a lot of these assholes say without a single beat, yes, that's right. Wear the MAGA hat and you'll be identified as one of the good ones. They are the threat to this country. Not some migrant kid from Mexico or Venezuela or God knows wherever else who sees America as the light of the free world. That's what we need to show the world, that we still believe in freedom, that this is still a republic of the people, for the people, and by the people. But the MAGA, They don't care about that. The MAGA, they don't see it that way. It's either my way, for the MAGA, especially following the example of Donald Trump, it's my way or no way at all. And that philosophy is what's going to gut this country. As I said before, we have only a few days to avoid a government shutdown. And if the Republicans really love this country, truly love this country, we know they don't, but if they truly love this country, get back into Washington, D.C., make the deal, and keep this government going. Keep this republic going. If you can't do that, there's the door. Don't let it hit you where the good Lord split you. Because in my view, every single one of you MAGAs who let this country go down in the shutdown has shown me and shown everyone in this country that you don't care about America. You can repeat verbatim the words of the U.S. Constitution, but you don't know what they mean. You can say the Pledge of Allegiance 1,000 times a day. You only say it because it's part of the act. You can say, I love the flag, but you would burn it in a heartbeat just because Donald Trump isn't the president. Or if Donald Trump told you to. You guys got a few more days. Do your damn jobs. Or get the fuck out. If that sounds like a threat, I guess I'm threatening you. But you see, I want you to do your jobs for our country. That's why I'm getting so hot about this. But unfortunately, you don't want to. It's all about Donald Trump or nothing else. And that is pathetic. You want to go down for Donald Trump? You're more than welcome to do so. But you're not going to take the rest of our country with you. Make your choice. You're with America or with Trump. There's no F, or blah. There's nothing in between. Make your choice, MAGA. Because tick, 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 tick. Time's running out for you. CTP, know the truth. God bless. Peace to the left, justice to the right.